In our last discussion, we revealed an invisible weapon, divide and conquer. We armed ourselves with Kant's sapere aude, the dare to know, and secured our liberation from external manipulation. But freedom is not a finishing line. It is a terrifying doorway leading to a much heavier, more uncomfortable truth. A truth that only the most dedicated growth philosophers can endure. The greatest obstacle to your progress is no longer the manipulative system outside. It is the insidious lie you tell yourself that you are a victim of your circumstances. True freedom does not begin when others stop controlling you. It begins when you recognize this. Your entire life, right now, is the direct sum of your past decisions. Most people confuse freedom with simple license. I can do whatever I want. This is the definition of a child focused only on action. The philosopher's definition is an existential equation. True freedom is the inescapable obligation to assume full responsibility for the consequences of every action and every inaction. It is not a reward, it is a burden of gravity. Because if you are truly free, then all the negative experiences you face, the stress, the debts, the professional stagnation, are not bad luck or injustice. They are the logical, direct consequence of the choices you made yesterday, last month, or a decade ago. The external world has relinquished its control over you. Now, you must confront the far more powerful control, that of your former self. The victim role is the most comfortable form of hell. It provides a ready-made narrative for your suffering that demands no change. The person who embraces the victim label externalizes all failure, solicits sympathy, and thus remains perpetually dependent on external validation. This is heteronomy, dressed in pity. To step into autonomy, you must admit you are mired in debt because you chose to prioritize immediate consumption over long-term solvency. You are trapped in a miserable job because you chose the comfort of lethargy over the hard work required for change. Your current life situation may feel cruel, but it is the just and equitable consequence of your past agency. This is the radical, cold shower that true freedom provides. Let's look at the clearest, simplest chains of cause and effect. The psychology remains constant regardless of the scale. If you consciously consume cheap, processed food every day, the resulting lack of energy and poor health is not an unfortunate accident. It is the direct, predictable payment for your choice to disregard long-term vitality. If you consistently speak with contempt or sarcasm to those close to you, the resulting breakdown of trust and emotional distance is not a relationship failure. It is the outcome of your continuous choice to be a poor steward of the relationship. You are the cause. The suffering is the effect. Now we examine the more insidious psychological truths where the chain is longer but no less definite. Do you find yourself feeling lonely or isolated despite being surrounded by people? You may have chosen this isolation by focusing on performance. In every social interaction, Were you more focused on proving your worth, securing approval, or waiting for your turn to speak, rather than genuinely listening? You chose to be a closed system, prioritizing validation over connection. Your loneliness is the consequence of that internal priority. Many people use the phrase, "I'm too busy." This is a lie designed to excuse a deficit of investment. You are not too busy to exercise, to read, or to meditate. You are simply choosing to allocate your finite resources elsewhere. To mindless scrolling, to excess sleep, or to immediate comfort. Your current lack of physical or mental resilience is not a condition you suffer from. It is a chosen state of being, paid for by those thousands of small, daily decisions to prioritize the fleeting over the fundamental. You chose the comfort of today over the power of tomorrow. This is perhaps the hardest truth, the choice of known misery over unknown fear. You hate your job, you despise your financial limitations, and you dream of starting your own project. Yet you remain frozen for years. You rationalize this as loyalty or stability, but the growth philosopher recognizes it for what it is: the decision to choose the familiar, predictable pain over the terrifying, unpredictable potential of change. Your stagnation is not a failure of opportunity. It is a failure of courage, a direct consequence of choosing fear as your master. The self-sovereign individual understands that the neutral ground does not exist. Inaction is the most powerful form of action. Every instance of procrastination is a decision to burden your future self with the cost of that task, often multiplied by stress and haste. Every time you remain silent to avoid conflict, you have made the decision to feed that relationship with the subtle poison of bitterness and resentment. Your freedom to not act makes you the unavoidable architect of all consequences that subsequently unfold. The true burden is knowing that you could have changed the situation at any moment. You simply chose not to. To absorb this profound burden without collapsing into despair, we turn to Friedrich Nietzsche. Nietzsche's philosophy is the ultimate answer to the shame and paralysis that responsibility can bring. He cried out, "Become who you are." He recognized that human suffering is doubled. There is the suffering itself, and then there is the shame and regret over having caused or allowed it. Nietzsche offers the most powerful emotional reversal, Amor Fati, love your fate. Amor Fati is far more than mere acceptance of your current reality. It is a passionate love for it. It is the powerful, affirmative nod to your entire past and a profound realization. Yes, all my errors, all my poor choices, all the resulting pain. I not only accept it, but I want it all over again because it was necessary to forge the person I am today. This radical stance strips the past of its power to paralyze you with guilt. You are no longer the victim of your decisions. You are the hero who has survived, absorbed, and transcended them. This unconditional affirmation is the only way to convert past guilt into present, actionable power. The Stoics provide the practical, forward-looking tool. They teach the dichotomy of control. You cannot change the consequence of yesterday's decision that is outside your control, residing in the past. But you retain absolute, inviolable control over the quality of your reaction to that consequence and the quality of your very next decision. The autonomy lesson is thus a two-step protocol. Step 1, radical affirmation, Amor, Fati. Step 2, immediate, conscious, new decision, Stoicism. You cannot go back to make a brand new start, but you can start right now to make a brand new ending. The cost of this radical autonomy is often a profound loneliness. When you shed the victim role, you simultaneously lose the social currency of pity and the shared commiseration of those who remain trapped. Society rewards the victim role because it is a safe form of dependence. The growth philosopher who states, "I caused this and I am changing it now," will frequently face rejection. They will not understand your past suffering because they see it as bad luck. They will dismiss your hard-won success because they see it as good fortune. True freedom is a path you must walk alone, in the clear, sharp awareness of your own unshared responsibility. To shoulder this burden daily, implement the Autonomy Journal. When a negative emotion or situation arises, anger, stress, financial fear, write it down. Then ask yourself the simple, ruthless question: which of my specific past choices or inactions created this feeling or consequence? Pinpoint the root decision, not the external blame, the boss, the market, but the inner choice that laid the actual foundation for the problem. This process immediately ends the desperate search for external blame and returns you to the driver's seat of your own mind. This is the crucial final pivot. After affirming the responsibility for the cause, you make the next active choice. If your journal reveals, "I am stressed because I chose to binge watch until 2 a.m. last night," the root decision, the next conscious choice is not, "I must wake up early tomorrow." It is, "I choose now to power down the screen and dedicate my immediate focus to tomorrow's rest." This is the seamless, practical integration of Amor, Fati, and Stoicism. Affirm the past cause, control the present action, and design the future effect. This is the high price of autonomy. It strips you of all your excuses, but in doing so, it grants you unlimited power. From this moment forward, there is no more bad luck. There is only cause and effect, and you are the cause. Acknowledge the consequences of your past. Love them as necessary teachers, Amor Fati, and use that profound knowledge to start forging a new chain of intentional decisions right now. You are not the product of your circumstances. You are the meticulous architect of your decisions. What is the greatest consequence in your life that you have long externalized, but for which you are now taking full, radical responsibility? Share your reflection below and begin the new chain of conscious choices today. This single act is the first step toward true self-sovereignty and the next level of your philosophical journey. It is never too late to start making your own decisions and take control of your life. Be no fool. Don't let yourself be manipulated and start leading a self-determined life. Until next time, keep your eyes and ears open and your mind clear and sharp, and do not let yourself be manipulated.